All right, today we are going to be making pumpkins inspired by a famous Japanese artist, Yayoi Kusama. And you should have already watched the video about her and what she paints. But this is kind of the inspiration for this painting. And you're going to be able to pick two colors. And we're going to be working with contrasting colors. So contrasting colors are colors that are opposite on the color wheel. Now this one was orange and purple, which aren't directly opposite. Yellow would be directly opposite. So the one I'm going to do for demonstration, we're going to use blue and orange, but we're ultimately going to get this at the end. So you're going to pick a color, and I have orange. And then we're going to draw our pumpkin. Now, the easiest way to draw our pumpkin, and we want it to fill up the page, is we're going to start with a shape that's kind of like a squished oval. So I'm going to just draw, comes in a bit, around, in, and around. It's like a butternut squash. Anyways, then we are going to, before we draw the other sections, we're going to draw the stem. Now I'm going to make a curved line that touches the top of this and goes around like this. But it's not going to go all the way to together, because I'm going to draw my stem right out of that, like this, and then I'm going to put an oval at the top of that. Now, ultimately, we're going to paint that black, so it won't matter so much if it's a little wonky. Now, I'm going to make my other sections of my pumpkin come down. Now, they're narrower at the top because they're connected to the stem. So we're going to go in, and then they're going to connect at the bottom here. And we're going to do that on both sides. Okay, and they don't totally come out flat, and it's okay if they're a little wonky because pumpkins are. And we're going to keep going until it looks it fills up the page and it looks like the shape that we want. And as we go around, we're going to make sure that they come all the way around. And they may not go all the way down to the bottom, because as it curves around, we can't see the bottom anymore. So we get more and more like that. But we got to do this back part. So we're going to start here. And here. This one goes behind. Like that. Okay. Now, there's my pumpkin. And what we're going to do next is we're going to do contrasting dots. So one section is going to be black, one section is going to be white. One black, one white. And we're going to do that all the way around. And we're going to dip and dot. So I have black and white, and we're going to need two separate paintbrushes. And we're not going to use the bristle side. We're going to use the dot side. So I'm going to start, and you want your dots to be in lines or in rows. They're not just random. So I'm going to start down the middle, and I'm just dipping and dotting straight down the middle of my pumpkin. And if you want the dots to be a bit bigger, you just use a little bit of the side like that. Might make that one bigger. Okay, so I did my first row. Now we want rows on either side, so we do want them to curve a little bit. And I'm just going to keep going all the way down. Now, the goal is to try to get your dots similar in size. Sometimes that can be a bit challenging. But we're going to keep going. And I'm going to try to keep my dots in a line, and then they'll curve out around this way around the edge, like that. And then we're going to do it on the other side. Dip and dot. And if it stops dotting, then you dip again. And then you just keep going. Now, because I want white dots on my stem, I am going to use the brush on the other end, and I need to paint this before I do the dots, so I'm going to, so that it will have time to dry. So I'm going to just paint the stem black and let it dry before I put the white dots on it. But I want to keep in mind, I want black, white dots, black dots, white dots, black dots, white, black, white, black, white. So I'm gonna, and you got to be careful not to put your hand in it once you start making the dots. So I'm just going to do all my black dots first, and then I'm going to go back and do my white dots, just so I don't get confused about what dots go where. And then these, as we went around, our sections got a little bit narrower, so we don't need quite as many rows. Like this one's only going to need 2 rows of dots. Okay, then I'm going to go down this one. Now, this might take a while, and you want to take your time so you don't smear your dots, and you don't forget what color goes in what section. So I'm probably not going to do all of this. I might. So you are welcome to pause at this point, do your dots, and then resume. So this would be black dots, and this would be black dots. Okay, then all the other sections are going to have white dots. For the contrast here. But you get the idea. Okay, once you have all of your dots on your pumpkin, you're going to set that on the drying rack because we don't want to smear any of the dots. And you're also going to put white dots in the stem. Little lines down and keeping your dots in line. And you don't want your dots touching. You want to be able to see the dots separate. Little. Okay, now I'm not finished with this, but I'm going to move it off to the side. You're going to finish every other black and white dots. Then you're going to get the contrasting color paper. Now for orange, the contrast, the one opposite directly across, is blue. So I have a blue paper. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a ruler and a white gel pen. And with your white gel pen, you're just going to make lines that crisscross across your paper. And we want to make sure that they're straight lines, and you end up with these geometric shapes that are triangles, some of them, and well, most of them. Okay, and you're going to do that all over your paper so that when you cut out your pumpkin, when it's dry, you're going to glue it on, and we're going to have this pumpkin that pops right off the paper, because you're picking the opposite color, which helps make it, you know, show up really great. All right, now this project, I want you to take your time and make sure you do neat dots that do not touch each other, and that you pay attention to the black and the white sections. And then on the background, we're using white.